morning, everyone, and welcome to the Engagement Strategies to Help Students Bloom. We are so excited that you are joining us for the Flipping Out Instruction session. My name is Dana Rubenstein from the Educational Technology Department, and I am joined by these wonderful ladies. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Karina Moran from Math Elementary.
I'm Alexander Adams from Elementary Literacy.
Hi, I'm Jessica Zunker from the K-12 Science.
Thank you. So this session is jam-packed full of information. It is being recorded, and we're going to have all of the resources, the recording, and this presentation available for you after the full day is complete on our website, and we're going to have that website link available for you in the presentation as well. So let's get this session started. We also, if you're watching on YouTube, please like by clicking the thumbs up on YouTube, and please subscribe to our channel. Excellent. So thinking about Flipgrid, one of the most amazing applications out there, it is an incredible application for student voice. And here you see on the screen just a little snippet of what Flipgrid offers. And this is an interactive application for students to show their voice. It is an asynchronous video communication tool. It is a platform to empower students. They can share, they can collaborate, they can showcase themselves for authentic voice and authentic learning. And it is so much fun and creative. So one of the things that you can do is help students make their thinking visible. It is a way for their social media, since our students are on social media every day, practically, it helps bring that platform into their learning. Students and teachers can help collect evidence of their student learning. It is a way to show their creativity and bring in those 4 C's. And students can relate to this platform because they're already digital natives and they're on the computer all the time and they love it. And one of the best features is that teachers can moderate the responses before students can view them. And so just in case you're worried about a student putting something inappropriate, not to fear, teachers can moderate all responses before classmates can view them. Now, today's session is really going to focus on the integration strategies of Flipgrid, but if you are not familiar with it, we do have this video embedded, and I had mentioned that this is available for you, so at your leisure, you can watch this video, and it will go step by step of how to actually create a Flipgrid, so we do have that. But just as a reminder, when you go to Flipgrid, to log in as an educator, you want to log in with your Google login, and you want to use your district email, your district credentials. And as you're creating your group, it's very important for that private group to add the student domains. So you want to add the stu.palmbeachschools.org. And then you also want to add, so that you as the teacher have it, the palmbeachschools.org. Now, charter teachers, you also want to add your domain as well. And once you have those domains, then your students will be able to access. Now, this is very important because if you don't have those student domains, then your students will not be able to access your group and they will not be able to access your topics. And we get emails about this all the time. So teachers, please make sure that you have those domains listed for your group. Really, really important. So now let's take a look at some integration ideas. Karina, if you could go to the next slide. Excellent. So team, I'd love to invite you back to the screen so we could talk about some of these ideas. We have just a few, and teachers, these are just suggestions. Most importantly, these, when you're using Flipgrid in your classroom, you want it to be relevant to what you're teaching and what the students are learning. But just to kind of kick off some little thoughts, ladies, would you like to go through some of these ideas and kind of just spark some flipping out instruction ideas for us?
JC, you're up.
Okay, well, so for science, I would definitely use this in the classroom, but you can also use it for your parent night events. You can use it for your science fair, which we will talk about later. This is actually great to have the kids go out into nature and actually take video and document the natural world around them. That's, part of our purpose in science is to get the kids out into nature and actually explore. So this is a great tool for that.
In elementary literacy, there are so many uses you can use with your kinder babies all the way up to your fifth graders, even beyond. You can have kids, you can track their reading throughout the year, have kids do that oral fluency. They can read, and then they can do it in multiple increments throughout the year, and then you can see the progression. You can even go ahead and then take those videos and use them during parent-teacher conferences to say, hey, look at the growth from your student from beginning to the end of the year. You can have students do book talks, do commercials. You can do Socratic seminars online. So the things we normally do brick and mortar, we can now do this in this digital platform. Those are just some fun examples to start with.
I love everything that you just suggested. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Karina.
Just for math, we need to mathematize our world. So anything that you see out there, you can take a picture and make a video and explain what's the math behind it. So it's an awesome tool.
And team, how do you think that these strategies would help engage our learners more in the classroom?
These kids are digital natives. They have come out of the womb with technology in their hands. So it looks like what they're already doing when they go home. They're going to go home and play on social media. Why not bring it into the classroom in a safe, friendly way that teacher and district approve, right? So it's vetted. We think it's a great tool. And it definitely meets the kids where they are.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So not only can you use Flipgrid for teaching and learning, but you can use it beyond that. You can use it for your family integrations, for staff, for PLCs, anything beyond the teaching and learning as well. So this is just another list of ideas that perhaps you can elaborate on at your school. Ladies, would you like to add anything to this list of ideas as well?
I know one of my teacher friends does the morning meeting with Flipgrid almost every day. So then the kids that are at home or that are absent can actually be part of the morning meeting, even if they're not in the classroom.
And I would definitely say if you're one of those leaders at your school that, does professional development at the school-based level, this is something that you can include with your staff and in a PLC, get them to, go through the platform, give an example for them to ease them into using it into their classroom. So don't forget about your colleagues too, as we're always thinking about students.
And I'm going to bring it back to students for a minute. I know we've all had those students in our classroom that just are so terrified to speak in class. But you'd be surprised if you put a camera in front of them, or even if you let them just respond to other classmates, you'll really hear them come out and come to life. So it's a really neat way for those shy kids to be able to bloom. Dare I say it, guys? To tie it back in. So yeah, your students, it gives them a voice, which is really fun and exciting. And it also can bring in that SEL piece. So it's a great way to embed that SEL work, what you're already doing in the digital platform.
Absolutely. And Flipgrid also has virtual field trips that are completely free that you can find on their platform. They also have something called Grid Pals, which is like a digital version of Pen Pals. So you can connect with other classrooms around the world. They have so many things to offer. They also have something called Flip Hunt Adventures. So you can explore that. And they're adding more all of the time. They also have units based on curriculum for the month. So for example, for Black History Month or Women's History Month or Earth Day or coding. And so they're constantly sending out information about that and building curriculum and activities based on thematic units that we're all trying to find activities for. And it's just really a plethora of resources that are engaging for our students. And so we highly recommend it. And I know that we all flip over Flipgrid. So with that being said, we're going to head into some really great curriculum integration ideas.
Well, I'm going to kick this party off. Again, my name is Jessica Zunker, aka JZ. I am your K-12 science instructional specialist. You can hit me up at Twitter at @JZ_science. And I'm going to show you how you can easily integrate Flipgrid into 3 main components. First is your independent response. Again, we want the teacher to post a prompt and the student to respond to it. And one of the best ways to get students involved with science is to use sentence frames. So when we have these sentence frames, you can easily, I just quickly made a graphic comparing and contrasting and then making observations. So if you want your students to respond to maybe a demo, a natural scenario out in the wild, or if you're just giving them a prompt where they have to compare and contrast the content of the day, this is great to spark that interest into science and to get them to respond. And like Alex was saying, you know, this really gives the kids a chance to go over their response and really talk about it and look at it before they post it. So it's giving them that voice and choice. And again, our sentence frames for our striving students, for our ELLs, for our ESE population, this is a great way to get them actively involved. The second type of response I want to talk about is a collaborative response. So this is where we can have a student post a response and then other students will then collaborate and respond and work together as a team to create the product. So in this example, we have students going out actually in the backyard in their neighborhood looking for flowering or non-flowering plants. So this is going to be great. And what they're going to do is create a board in the Flipgrid to where they can show their plants and the examples and learn from each other. And again, this is going to develop those higher level thinking skills in students, and it's going to boost their self-esteem, because if I'm a striving student and I'm not sure what I'm doing, if I get to work as a group, it's going to elicit more of a response from me because I'm going to be able to learn from my peers. And our third example for science is our conversational response. So in this example, we have science fair presentations from a classroom. And what they do is they present their science fair project, and then other students get to comment and respond. And this is great. It's kind of like a message board. It gets the students talking and responding and critiquing and evaluating each other. And then it also allows for easy assessment from you. And it encourages students to develop their thoughts and ideas. And I think it's just a great way to get everybody involved. And I also want to point out that when you post these on Flipgrid, you have the ability to add a rubric, add the instructions. As you can see here, the science fair walkthrough and the rubric is attached. So the students already know how they're getting evaluated. And you can attach anything from docs to YouTube videos to BrainPop. It's just a great platform that I love utilizing within elementary science.
Hi there. Okay, I'm going to answer a few questions before we hop into elementary literacy. I'm Alex Adams. I'm a K-5 literacy specialist, so you're going to be stuck with me for a few minutes. I saw a few questions. Does this work with Google Classroom? You would just put the link to the Flipgrid in your Google Classroom. So I usually use that as my main driver of instruction and just say, okay, from here, boom, go over to Flipgrid. So there's that one. And then as far as the collaborative piece, we just narrowed it down to 3 different ways to learn. There's always been that ability for students to respond to one another, and then teachers can moderate that. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay. All right, let's dig into literacy. So this first example, we have an independent response. I know some teachers, especially with their little primary friends, are they're a little timid to give kids just go free and go onto the computer because the argument is kids need to write. So if you look at the example here, you can still blend them. We have kids planning online or planning on paper, and then there's a little QR code that can take them to the Flipgrid. So in this example, we have kids retelling a story, and we'll share a really beautiful example of that a little bit later. But you can do somebody wanted to, but so. And this aligns with our new modules for our K2, as well as the ones from last year. So kids can plan on paper, and they can record, or if your kids are a little bit bigger and they're ready for the challenge, They can do everything right there in Flipgrid. There's actually planning tools so kids can plan and write on little stickies inside of Flipgrid, which is great. Another example for that independent response. Oh, sorry, can we go back one? Okay, I'm just long-winded. All right, for independent response, again, that's just kids responding by themselves. Kids can do a book review. You can have kids read a story. They can do a literature circle maybe. Well, that would not be independent, but kids can read. They can film themselves. If you wanted to then take that a step further with creativity, each Flipgrid you can print out, have a little QR code. So you can take that QR code and you can put it in the back of a book. When kids go to your library in your classroom or in the media center, they pull out the book, there's a little QR code, and they can watch a classmate giving a little book summary, which would be really fun. And it's just a different way to utilize that. One more that's not on here. I had saw an example in Flipgrid you can search for, like we told you. And so one example was a teacher made a flip hunt. They put little QR codes all around the classroom, and students would scan and they would answer questions, text-based questions through Flipgrid, just walking around the classroom, getting kids up out of their seat and learning. So, all right, we can now go on to the next one. There we go. All right, collaborative responses. This one comes from our 5th grade unit module, the Tiger Rising. So kids text-based response there with theme. Kids respond, what's the theme of a story? And now kids would come back through and they respond in teams. So they can plan together, they read the story, they're playing, what do we think the theme is? And then they can share the theme. In this next example I love right here is this paper slide. Paper slides are fantastic for getting kids to retell a story. So normally you would have kids filming, they would read a story, they can write down what happened in the story on a few index cards, and you would have a camera facing down. And the students would then slide the pictures that they've drawn under the view of the camera, and they'd slide it in and out. Now we can do that and keep it in Flipgrid. From my experience, when kids use so many different platforms, they might be on something with Windows or something with Google, or sorry, they could use a device with their Google device. They could use their Apple phones. Everything's so different. So when you get all these different file types, it's a little bit tricky to kind of muddle through and curate them to then present to everybody. But when you're using Flipgrid, everything's nice. It's a one-stop shop, which is really great. So that's collaborative response. And our last response type we have is this conversational piece. And this is where we have kids engaging in conversation. We want a meaningful conversation. I love what Jay-Z said before about the sentence stems, right? That definitely helps, especially with our EL students. So in this example, we have kids. Here's another great 5th grade example. This is the story I Walk with Vanessa. It is a book with no words. And so I was able to find the YouTube link to the video. So kids can watch, AKA read the story. And then they have this whole class conversation. The students can respond independently and then comment on other people's responses in the classroom. And then as a teacher, you can pick one that you really feel like is a really hot button topic, or when the kids are really engaging in this particular response, and then have all the kids respond there. So it's I wouldn't call it a back channel, but it's definitely a great place to have this conversation taking place in an online platform. So that's elementary literacy in a nutshell. Over to science.
Actually, it's over to math. It's my turn. Alex, thank you for all those ideas. Along with the ideas that JC shared, I'm Karina Moran, KA Math Resource Teacher, and I'd like to share how we can use Flipgrid to, again, mathematize our world. So the first thing that I have is an independence response, emoji math. I'm sure you've seen it out there. You take some pictures, and the students have to figure out what those pictures actually mean. I mean, this is work that kindergartners, 1st graders, 2nd graders can do that's actually getting them ready for algebra and figuring out what the variable means. Another example for an independent response where the student responds to a prompt and the teacher is able to view and comment, it's an odd and even hunt. They need to explain how to figure out if a number is odd or even. And there's a way, again, like we said before, to embed a video so kids can see a video and then they can actually understand how to explain. I know that one of the mathematical practices is to construct viable arguments and critique the reasoning of others. So teachers have the opportunity to really work on that mathematical practice with Flipgrid so that they have the opportunity to hear what the kids say. For our collaborative response, I have an idea called area maze. So basically, this is a picture of an area maze, and students will work together in a team to figure out the area of each part and then collaborate to find the area of the whole entire piece. They could do it with different pictures. A team can create the maze and another team can solve it. And that's how we really get to understand if our students understand what area truly means and not just use the formula. Another idea is for a strategy video. We know that there's lots of different strategies. The more the better sometimes, because students are the ones that are creating their understanding through the strategies that they use. So for example, here we have teach how to multiply fractions using one strategy. We have learned a lot. That make sure that you give a certain expression to solve and make sure to check that your solution is correct using another strategy. So this is actually purposely asking students to not use only the strategy they're comfortable with, but another strategy, maybe another friend's strategy to see do they truly understand. Last but not least, one of my favorite things, a conversational response where you actually get the students to independently respond to each other. Again, remember that teachers have the ability to moderate. So before the videos get put on Flipgrid for access to all the kids, you are able to make sure that you view the video before it's public. In Would You Rather Math.com, you have tons of examples. This one happens to be, would you rather put $3 in the bank and have it triple each week for 4 weeks, or put $4 in the bank and have it quadruple each week for 3 weeks? Now, if you do the math, there is no wrong answer. It's just, what is your justification? Now, I want to share with you some other things that are in Flipgrid. We talked before about the fact that you have a topic of the day, and there's, in this case, 35,821 topics that are in Discovery. So like I said, there's a lot. At the top of Flipgrid, you have extra buttons that you can push and get different things. One of them is a discussion. The next one is Discovery, Activity, Mixtape, and Shorts. So I'm just sharing with you this part, and then we're going to go live into Flipgrid and show you the amazing part about making a mixtape. So a mixtape is basically a collection of the videos from your topics. You can create them so that you have them available for a student portfolio, semester highlights, a project showcase, even a school yearbook. I know that my students used to love being the ones that were asked to be in the mixtape because their response was so amazing that everybody else wanted to hear it. One of my favorite projects about a mixtape, I asked the parents to come during the time that they met me, the first week of school, and they created videos for their kids. So every time that we were doing something that was difficult, the kids had the opportunity to watch not only their parents, but other kids' parents. Let them know, you got this, I have faith in you. So let's jump into Flipgrid. When I go into Flipgrid, because I have an account, all I have to do, like we said before, is log in using my Google credentials. There I am. And here, as you can see, is the menu that I mentioned before. Discussion, Discovery, Activity, Mixtapes, and Shorts. The really cool thing about Discovery is that when you click it, you get to be able to discover everything that's already available for you. For example, if I was looking for a topic of the day, 1 million cranes challenge, that would be something that I could use because it's already there. All I have to do is click it, read it, and edit away. Or if I'm looking for something particular, I can look through subjects. There's also a trending, and at the bottom, feature collections, and there's the topics if you want to switch and start looking through subjects, community, and search topics. As you can see, this is all available for you. All you have to do is become a teacher that wants to discover something new. So now I'm going to share with you how to make one of those mixtapes that I shared about before. If you go to mixtapes, it kind of tells you what it is. I already have made some, but what I'm going to show you is the steps to create them. So I'm actually going to go to my discussion board where I have my topics, and I'm going to go find a topic that I know I have some answers for. So for example, here is a coordinate grid mystery picture. This is a topic that my students did a long time ago, and I had 15 responses. So when I click on it, I actually get to see what the topic was like and my students' responses. So all I have to do is say actions, add it to a mixtape. You click it, and there you go. Now, because I have made other mixtapes, these mixtape titles come up. I don't want to use it in none of those. I put add to create a mixtape, and there I go. I have the opportunity to give this mixtape a title, a description. I can make it a password protection if I want to, and as I click create, I get a join code that I can give to everyone else. So let me just put for show. So I'm going to click create and show you how easy. There, I got it. So if I went back to my mixtapes, there it is. The video is ready to go. All I have to do is share. And like it was shared before, these are all the different platforms that you can use. You can copy the link or you can share it through a QR code, like I know was shared that we could put that in a book if we wanted to, through Google Classroom and other platforms. So I wanted to share that with you because I know that it's amazing all the opportunities that we have with Flipgrid. But now I know that we have a very special thing to share with you. And I hope that you enjoy.
So last year, when COVID first hit, we quickly had to scramble, and some of our teachers discovered Flipgrid. And think about how our little kids, right? We took our kindergarten, our first, second, third, fourth, fifth grades. We took our little kids, put them in front of technology with the purpose of teaching them for the first time, right? Not for the first time, but for some of us, it was new. So this example is a second grade teacher, and she is teaching her kids to retell a story. And so she's using her two children to reenact a story that they've read. And we have a few other examples we won't get into today, but we have a little student who at home, she took her little stuffed animals and she's reenacting The Lion and the Mouse in just in front of her classmates, going through and retelling a story with her little home stuffies. So I just thought that was such a beautiful example. So let's hop into it and you can take a little peek.
This is the story of the lion and the mouse. One day, the lion was sleeping in the forest. A little mouse was trotting through and came upon the lion, and she stepped on his paw. And when she did, he woke up and saw the little mouse. He immediately told the little mouse what he was going to do with her.
I'm gonna eat you for my dinner tonight. Please don't eat me. I'll be nice to you if you hug me.
So the lion let her go. The mouse was able to run away and be free. Now, later on that day, when the lion was hunting in the forest, he was trapped by a hunter's net. He yelled for help, and the little mouse nibbled and set him free.
I'm free! I'm free!
He thanked the little mouse for helping her, even though she was so little. And the lion and the mouse became friends. They learned that it doesn't matter how small you are. If you are kind to others, they will be
Kind to you.
the end.
So I know that we shared that we can make mixtapes and other things, but I also wanted to share that you have the opportunity to get all these amazing resources that we've been discovering, because we are going to have on the banner the opportunity for you to have flipping out instruction. It is a group. So when you open it up, you are able to take all of these amazing resources that we have for you and copy them for yourself. After, again, you have your own Flipgrid. All you have to do is say action. You're going to duplicate your topic. And when you duplicate it, you have the opportunity to put it into your group. So Think about all the opportunities that you have to use any of these resources that we shared. And remember, there's tons and tons more. These are just some of the ones that we decided to put together for you. Back to the team.
That Karina just showed, we've curated them. So Teaching and Learning has gone through, we've vetted them. Anytime you take from Discover on Flipgrid, just make sure that everything is aligned to your standards, and you can always tweak and modify what's there. You don't have to start from the ground up. You can always beg, borrow, steal, and then modify just so it meets your instruction and it is aligned to your standards.
And Karina, I know that all of the teachers watching are just going to love all of the resources that have been shared, because you have, I mean, everything here is cross-curricular. So if something sparked an idea for math or science or ELA, and you are a music teacher, you can take that idea and transfer it to a music lesson or an art lesson or a PE lesson or a social studies lesson. So again, just turn that idea into something relevant for what you are doing in your classroom. So this has just been a plethora of ideas to help us all flip over instruction. So again, all of the resources are available to you. And if you could just go to the next slide, we have that link available, and the recording and the slide deck will be at bit.ly/studentsbloom. Thank you so much for joining us. And on behalf of all of us, we are so thankful that you have joined this session. And ladies, go ahead and say anything else to the group watching.
I just want to remind everybody, thank you. Don't forget, flipping out instruction is the best. And don't forget about mathematizing the world, but also doing some science and ELA.
Yes, and if you have any questions how to integrate this into your elementary science lessons, don't feel free to hit up me at @jz_science, or you can hit up our elementary science team. We're happy to help you in any way possible.
Thank you guys for joining us.
And we also want to mention from the EdTech department that we have some exciting news, because we have a technology conference planned. So please save the date for October 15th, 2021. Woohoo! It will be virtual, and it is going to be amazing. We are using vFairs, which is an incredible platform, and everything is going to be online. It is going to be unbelievable. The theme is Fast Forward, a decade of change in a year. And boy, has it been a year. So please, again, save the date, October 15th, 2021. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day, everyone. Stay tuned for the next session.